Tottenham Hotspur are back in the big time. Champions League nights are ahead in N17. But how far can Spurs really go in this season's competition? Are the Lily Whites set for an early exit in the league phase? Or could we do something special like we did in 2018-19? Are we set for a run to the quarters? Maybe even the semis? Potentially the final? And could Tottenham Hotspur be lifting? I'm not even going to say it in case I jinx it, but I'm going to be giving all of my thoughts and opinions on our upcoming campaign in the biggest competition in world football. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at the 8 fixtures Tottenham Hotspur have in the league phase, deciding how many points I think Spurs will get from them, and comparing it to last season's league table, deciding whether that gets us through, whether we have to play in the playoffs, or whether we are simply out. And that is it. History tells us about the future in football, so I will also be looking at Tottenham Hotspur's recent campaigns in the Champions League. So strap yourselves in, grab yourselves a snack, and dear viewer, let's get cracking with this snack. And I'll start things off by looking at last year's sort of standards that were set. So Liverpool topped the table in the league phase, right? They got 21 points to do that. 21 points from 8 games. 7 wins, 1 loss. That's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. The 1 loss was in their last game as well that they didn't really care about. They knew that they were going through anyway. So Liverpool topped the table. 21 points is sort of the benchmark to top the league phase. Then I'm looking at what gets you into the automatic qualification for the round of 16. Leverkusen, Lille and Villa all finished on 16 points, and that got all 3 of them through. Leverkusen in 6th, Lille in 7th and Aston Villa in 8th. So you're not getting away with 13 or 14 points to get into those automatic qualification places. You know, you need to be performing well, and I'm a big fan of this league phase format because I think it makes things go right down to the wire. The last match days mean something, whereas in the group stages, you know, when we had them in the Champions League, don't get me wrong, I loved it for the most part, but that last game week, those last couple of game weeks, a lot of the big teams' games, they had nothing really riding on them, whereas it has something riding on it every single game. Even if a team had won all 7 games, they maybe want to top that table, and to do that, they have to win that last game. So everything in this league phase goes right down to the wire, down to the last game week of the league phase. So 16 points is probably what you're looking at to get into those automatic qualification places. 17, 18 to guarantee it. 14 maybe gets you in, maybe doesn't. You wouldn't want to risk that. Then I'm looking at the 16 teams below that, okay? From 9th place to 24th place, those 16 teams go into 8 playoff games. And then the winners of those 8 playoff games go in to the round of 16 to take on the top 8. 24th was Bruges, right? And you must be thinking 8th place got 16 points, 6th place got 16 points, 24 must have, 9 or 10 points. Bruges got 11 points. That's 5 points off 8th place. 2 wins for Bruges, 2 losses for either Leverkusen, Lille or Villa. They're in the top 8. Yet they only just scraped through to the playoff places. You see what I mean? Every single game matters. Every single point is crucial in this new Champions League format. That's why I love it as a neutral, but it also might be a lot more heart in mouth as an actual fan of a club involved than it was with a group stage. You win 3 or 4 games, you're through. Cool. That's not the case. That is not the case anymore with the new Champions League phase. So 24th Bruges, 11 points. So you get below 10 points, you're looking at going out of the Champions League. Simple as that. You get above 10 points, maybe you scrape into the playoffs. Get around 12, 13, 14 points, very likely get into the playoffs. 15 points, maybe playoffs, maybe automatic. 16 points to around 19 points, that gets you automatic qualification. 20 plus probably wins you the league phase. You don't get a trophy for that, you just finish top of the table and take on one of the teams in a playoff. Liverpool finished first in the Champions League last season, won 7 games. They got knocked out in the round of 16 by PSG, who didn't even make it into the top 8. So it goes to show how competitive this format is. Now let's look at Tottenham Hotspur's fixtures, and I'm going to decide how many points I think we will get. First game tomorrow night under the lights at the Lane in N17. It's Villarreal at home. And for me, we're looking at 3 points. Thomas Frank, eager to prove a point. His first Champions League game as a manager. All of the players excited for this one. Many players, Mohamed Kudus, Xavi Simons, joined us. And a huge part of that was the Champions League attraction, playing at the top level. I think Villarreal are no mugs, but they're a beatable team. I remember them under Emery. They were very, very hard to break down, but they're not that same team anymore. They're not always up there and competing in La Liga. Don't get me wrong, La Liga is a good league, so to get into the Champions League places, you have to finish high up in it. But I'm looking at them. They're much more of a Europa League team that are successful in that competition than in the Champions League. Pino was one of their best players. They've lost him, so I'll be looking at a win here. I think at home, under the lights, the crowd will be buzzing. It'll be a sea of lily white. I don't think we'll completely dominate them. I don't think we'll rip them to shreds from open play. We haven't done loads from open play this season, but I think maybe 1 or 2 set pieces. And I think Spurs win this game either 1 or 2-0. So I'm saying 3 points. Second game of the season in the Champions League, Bodo Glimt away. Oh, you won't be playing Bodo in the Champions League. It's who we are, mate. It's who we are. I'm looking at 3 points here. Look, Bodo Glimt showed in the Europa League last season. They are no much. You can take the mick out of their name all you like, but that football club have a plan. They are playing Moneyball to perfection, and they are just growing and growing and growing. Last season, they smashed the likes of Lazio. They smashed the likes of Olympiacos, Mr. Marinakis, big team in Greece, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up a few results in the Champions League and manage to get in to those playoff places. But I think we went there last season, put in a very professional performance. I think we're more organised this season than we were when we went there last season under Ange. So I'm looking at 3 points. I'm looking at a very, very good start for Spurs in the Champions League. Third game, Monaco. I see this one being quite tough. I do. Monaco, they're not the most amazing team. They don't really have many players that stand out. Buwadi's a good player, to be fair, in midfield. He's someone who a lot of Premier League teams will be looking at in the near future. But I think we draw this game. I think it'll be tough. Away from home, they caused some problems last season for a lot of big sides. And we've got to drop points at some point, I struggle looking at this. This is the Champions League now. And I can't just go, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, 3 points. We finish this on like 25 points. Just piss the league. Because that ain't going to happen. We've got a favourable draw here. We've got 8 games. You compare it to Newcastle's 8 games. You compare it to Arsenal's 8 games. You compare it to other Premier League teams' 8 games. Chelsea's, Liverpool's, Man City's. I think we've got the best of the bunch here. But we are going to drop points at points. And I see this being a game where we do. So Monaco, I'm saying a point. Not the worst result. A point away in the Champions League isn't bad. That's 7 points already in 3 games. Copenhagen at home. It's got to be a win, hasn't it? It's got to be a win. The Danish league isn't the strongest. I barely know any of their players. Thomas Frank will, though. He'll know Danish football better than most of us fans. And yeah, I see us winning this game. I don't think we'll thrash them. I don't think we'll thrash many teams in the Champions League. I think a 2 or 3-0 maybe. Quite comfortable home win. So I'm saying 3 points there. PSG away. If we hadn't had that Super Cup game, even though we've had a good start to this season, I'd be saying we get hammered in this game. But I don't think we get hammered. I think we put up a great fight. The Super Cup game was at a neutral venue. This one is at the Parc des Princes. And because of that, I think they edge it, but I see this being a very, very close game. I think we'll make ourselves very hard to break down. I'm saying that PSG take the lead. I'm saying we equalise, and I can see maybe a last-minute worldie from a Doué, Kvaratskhelia, and Dembele. So I think PSG come away with the 3 points, but I think we'll come away from that game as Spurs fans taking a lot of positives from the way that we set up and how hard we made it for them. You're looking at that Super Cup. If we play like we did in that game against them, we're a tough game for anyone, and we're a tough game again for PSG. So I'm saying we lose that game. Our first loss of the Champions League. But thankfully, we follow it up with a very winnable game. Slavia Prague away. It's a whole different kettle of fish, man. It's a whole different kettle of fish. That walk through the tunnel at Slavia Prague, I remember, we played them a few years ago in the Champions League. It's a horrible, horrible place to go, man. It really is. It genuinely feels dangerous if you're an away fan going. But at home, it should be comfortable. It should be very, very comfortable. And the Czech league, not the strongest league. We've got a decent game here following on from the PSG when it'd be rough if we didn't. And when I'm looking at our 2 games after this, we kind of need to win. So Slavia Prague, I am saying we pick up 3 points. Then we have Dortmund at home. Away, yellow wall, probably lose it, but at home, I'm saying we pick up a point here. Dortmund are a good side. I'm looking at some of our games last season in the Europa League against these sort of not top level European sides. Top level, I'm looking at like Bayern, PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and then just below them, I'm probably looking at AC Milan, although they haven't been it recently. But you know what I mean. Your Juventus right now. Your Borussia Dortmunds, your Marseilles, these sort of teams. Dortmund will make it difficult for us, man. Guirassy up top. What a player he is. What a fantastic player he is. Just someone at the minute who can't stop scoring. They've got Bayer as well coming through, who's an option. Nemecha, a fantastic holding midfielder that they've got there. Defensively as well, Couto, fantastic player. They've got a good team, Dortmund, man. They've got a very good team. They've made a good start to the Bundesliga. So I don't think we'll lose it because it's at home. I don't think we'll lose many games under Thomas Frank, especially convincingly in the Champions League phase. But I do think we drop points. So I'm saying probably a 2-2 draw, something like that. And we pick up a point. Final game, Frankfurt away. Now, if my calculations and the math is mathing here is correct, then we're heading into this game on 14 points. So this could be big. And because it's big, because we went there last season and won just like we did with Bodo, and I think we're better this season than last season, I'm saying we pick up 3 points. They lost their main man, Ekatike. They also lost Marmoush last season. They're 2 biggest threats. I don't think it'll be easy because of the atmosphere. We went there under Antonio Conte a few years ago. It was hard. We went there last season, really under the cosh. Got lucky a couple of times, came away with a 1-0 win. I see it being a 1-0 win here, maybe a 2-1, a scrappy, hard-fought win. No pretty football in this one. No carpet football, no liquid football. It's going to be scrappy. 4-4 F2, Mike Bassett. But I do think we come away with a point. So I have got Spurs coming away with 17 points. Maybe that's quite optimistic, but I do think apart from PSG, every single game there is winnable. So a lot of people will be predicting us to get like 20 points or something. I don't see that because I think we're underestimating the level of the Champions League and some of these teams. So I expect us to drop points in 1, 2, 3 games and win the other 5. I think that would be a fantastic Champions League campaign in the league phase. And if Thomas Frank by January has us in the automatic places, which 17 points will very likely get us, still in the FA Cup and in the European places in the Premier League, he's doing an incredible job, in my opinion, compared to what we were doing last season. I'm looking at top teams in this Champions League. If we go further, what teams can we actually beat? Bayern, I think we probably get knocked out if we face them. Madrid, probably knocked out if we face them. The quality of those 2 teams, the history of those 2 teams in the Champions League, I don't see us doing particularly well. But apart from those 2, I think we could catch out quite a few teams. Barcelona are one of them teams, right? I think under Thomas Frank we have a genuine chance of winning. I look at the way that we set up against Manchester City, against their high line and offside trap, and we caught them out with it multiple times. I look at the way that Frank set up against Man City, against Liverpool, against these high pressing teams with a high line at Brentford, and he got a lot of results against them. I think this man knows how to set up a team to get a result against one of the top sides, and I think Barca, if we come up against them, we could stand a very good chance in that game. Then you've got your Napolis, your Juventuses, your sides from Italy, your Inter Milans who aren't as strong as they were last season. All tough games, but I think could be very close games. So the 2 teams that I think we go out to if we face Bayern Madrid. I'm looking at the Premier League teams. Liverpool, probably go out to them if we play them. Manchester City, mixed bag based on how good of a record we've got against them, even in the Champions League as well. How good of a record we've got against them. Chelsea, probably go out because of that game at Stamford Bridge. Arsenal, hate to admit it, but probably go out because of that game in the Emirates. But I see us being very competitive in this year's Champions League. I think if we do get through in the league phase, we'll have arguably an easier test in around a 16. So I see us winning around a 16 game, unless it is against a Bayern, a Madrid, one of your top sides. Quarterfinals, I think we'll face a Bayern, a Madrid, an Arsenal, a Chelsea, a Liverpool. And that's where I think we probably go out. I think quarterfinals we go out, but I think if we can make it to the quarterfinals, that is a fantastic Champions League campaign. I think you've really got to look at context here. And although we won the Europa League last season, look at our recent performances in Europe. They ain't been fantastic apart from that, especially in the Champions League. So if we can get to the quarters, I'm taking that all day long. With a good run as well in one of the domestic cups and a European finish in the Premier League compared to 17th last season, I'm taking it all day long, man. I'm snapping your hand off for it. Looking at our most recent runs in the Champions League, it ain't been fantastic, has it? Our last one got knocked out in the round of 16 against AC Milan under Conte. That was such a bad game because we just sat there and offered nothing. You know, absolutely nothing. We were toothless up top, like Rocky Balboa at the end of one of his big fights, man. We really were. We had nothing to offer in that game, and neither did AC Milan. The first game we lost 1-0, second game 0-0. It was dire football. Romero got sent off late. We had a couple of good moments in that Champions League season, though. You know, I remember the Marseille one in the last game with Højbjerg stunner. So it wasn't all doom and gloom, but there was quite a bit of doom and gloom. Our campaign before that was 1920. Got knocked out in the round of 16 by Leipzig, 4-0 on aggregate. I remember that game in Germany where we just got torn to shreds. And I remember thinking, Timo Werner is going to be the next big striker in the world. How time has proved me wrong on that one. But he was special in that game, man. He was absolutely special in that game. I sound like the Vince McMahon one. He was special. But he was brilliant in that game. He really, really was. The 18-19 season, don't think we even need to delve into that too much. If you're a Spurs fan, you'll know every single game, every bit of commentary, every single touch of the football. You know, like it happened yesterday. We know it all off by heart. Here's Lucas Moura. Oh, they've done it. I cannot believe it. Tottenham Hotspur with the last kick of the game. The Ajax players collapsed to the ground. It's my weird memory picking up things from like 5 years ago when I can't even remember what I had for dinner last night. But yeah, final against Liverpool. Robbed with that Moussa Sissoko handball. You know, I'm not bitter about it at all now. Season before, 17-18. You know what? We got knocked out in the round of 16 in that season by Juventus, I remember. That was the whole Easter history over the Tottenham bullshit. But I hate sick of that, man. You can shove that quote where the sun don't shine. But the group stage, we were brilliant, man. We beat Dortmund twice. We, went to Real Madrid, drew 1-1. But we beat Real Madrid 3-1, and we didn't just win against Madrid. We dominated them. Harry Winks playing like prime Iniesta. Dele Alli balling out against Real Madrid. Christian Eriksen with a great goal. Harry Kane making it look so easy. That performance against Real Madrid, that 3-1 win at Wembley, one of the best I've seen as a Spurs fan. Season before, 16-17, probably the best Spurs season I've seen in terms of the team we had and the way we played. I think we finished on 86 points in the Premier League, competing with Chelsea. But we got knocked out in the groups, and it weren't even like we had a strong group. I remember us having like Moscow and teams like that. And just so dire in the Champions League that season. The focus was really on the Prem. And then you look at our first season in the Champions League since it became the Champions League. 2010-11 under Howie Redknapp. Real Madrid, I don't know why I said that with a list. Real Madrid quarterfinals, got knocked out, I think 5-0, 6-0 on aggregate it might have been. No, it was 4-0 away and then 1-0 loss at home. But that was Gareth Bale's Champions League game, weren't it? Against Inter Milan. That game at the San Siro, one of the most iconic games in Spurs history that we've lost. Right, but Gareth Bale hat-trick at the San Siro. We lost 4-3 to Inter, but we were incredible in that game. We really were. At home, we actually beat them. People forget about that, but we beat Inter Milan at home, I think, 3-1 in that season. And then in the round of 16, beat AC Milan. I remember the Gattuso beef and stuff. So, look, you're looking at our Champions League history. The furthest we've went is the final. Worst we've done is going out in the groups, but we've only done it once. We've got quite a bit of European heritage, obviously. First ever English team to win a European trophy. First ever English team to win the Cup Winners' Cup. First ever English team to win the UEFA Cup. We've got all the history in Europe just outside of the Champions League. We need to go a little bit further in the Champions League, have a few more good runs, and down the line win it. And then we would have ticked every box that we really want to in Europe. So, look, I think Spurs have a good run. 17 points in the league, face quarterfinals. If that happens, I'm as happy as Larry. Whoever he is, wherever he is, he's happy. And I'll be happy if we do that. Guys, I'm going to make like a banana and split. Take care of yourselves. All the best. Have a smashing rest of your day. And as always, come on, you Spurs.